Yeah, so basically we know that especially for class 6 to 10, there's an art integrated project. 6 to 8, of course, 1 to 8, in fact, is doing a multidisciplinary approach. And 9 and 10, we are doing separate subject wise. You are all doing that. And as compared to the previous years, the EBSP protocol, they changed. So many of the states which were paired with a given place has been changed. So today's basically session is to give a clarity on the match project that can be given. So there was a lot of ideas which were shared in our previous sessions also regarding match projects. So this is in continuation with that, and I hope you will get more clarity on this. So this is obviously comes under subject enrichment. So if we talk about art integration, everything is paired. So I have taken the base of Delhi with Andaman, but this is obviously, it can be shared with any other particular place or state that you belong to. So how are we going to integrate the mathematics aspect of that? Since we are all maths teachers, it becomes very easy for us to understand that obviously it will involve a lot of comparisons in terms of similarities as well as the what is the difference, and then statistically we'll have to show. So if there is if you look at the culture of that particular place, the handicrafts that they use, the dance forms, it's very diverse when we are comparing one form of a place to the other. So it's a very when you talk about the place, they're totally different in terms of temperature, rainfall, population, tourism. Totally, when we are talking about mathematics aspect, geographically, of course, it's totally different. One is an island nation and one is an urban thing. So whichever place you have got, you will have to give a title to your project. Like we have given urban versus island in when we talk about Delhi and when we talk about the islands of Andamans. So if we were to understand the location aspects of this, so first of all, the student has to understand, of course, a little bit of introduction, although mathematics, we don't emphasize so much on the written part, but I would suggest the first page at least in about 200 words, a short write-up, because see, ultimately why the government introduced this EBSB was to know more about that place. So if you talk about the traditional dances and, what are the dance forms, what are the musical instruments they use, there is no harm in that. There is no harm in that. A short paragraph, not very detailed, like for geography and English, they may require very detailed descriptions on this. We are not going to do in detail, but a short a paragraph or so, 150, just to introduce the two places. So if it is whichever place, Maharashtra, Gujarat, whichever you have got your pet state, that you just in the first page, it is better that the two brief introduction about the two places are given. Some pictures can be pasted so that the project becomes interesting. Also, many schools I have found is making separate project files for this. So what happens is that they are making 5 files: English, maths, science, and different 5. And some people are telling them to do pages and they are collating into one. And in some schools, I've also heard that they are doing in the match practical file, because the practical file is also coming in the subject enrichment. So if you're not doing too many practical activities and if you have sufficient pages, then it can be done there as well in the match practical files, or you can ask them to do it there. And so this is the positioning. So geographically, the position is very important of the places that we are comparing. Whichever two states you are comparing, show them on the map of India where it lies. So if I'm showing Andaman and Nicobar Islands, they should know exactly, because they have an idea it's somewhere in the south, but exact location they don't know. So this is in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, is in the Bay of Bengal. So the exact position with respect to the map of India should be shown to the students so that there is clarity on the positioning. So it's important that is shown. And same way, Lakshadweep is about 400 kilometers from Kerala, Kochi, and it doesn't lie in the Bay of Bengal. It's on the other side. It's in the Arabian Sea. So whichever two places that you're here, we have got 2 places. You may have got only one. So you need not do 2. You can do any one. So see, the Lakshadweep is on the other side, that is not in Bay of Bengal, but in the Arabian Sea. So the two positions are very clear. One is in Bay of Bengal, the other is in Arabian Sea. So that's there. And of course, the position of the state which you belong to, that can be marked also. So that forms the introduction. Now we come to the project part. So the project has to have a title. So one title has to be given. What are the students? What is the aim of this whole thing? So the project title that we have given is Urban versus Island. So you can think of something, a mathematical perspective. So this is what we have given here. So project title has to be there. And in this project title, we are comparing. So comparison, short paragraph is there. So one is a totally urban place, the other is island. So the flora, fauna, the tourism patterns, the monuments, everything is different. The climatic conditions, totally different. So there is a lot of material that can be used to compare this, right? So we give a title to the project. So that comes in. So the whole project should not be very long, not too short. So I would suggest about 8 to 10 pages should be sufficient so that the students are not burdened with a lot of work. So the project title is clear. So you can give a suitable project title. Then we come to the aim. So what is the aim of this project? The aim of the project is to explore the mathematical aspects. As far as maths project is concerned, we are interested only in the mathematical part. As I said, the introduction about the dance forms and the other things that handicrafts and all can only be as an introduction purpose, but that cannot be running into pages like a social science where they do it in detail. The mathematical aspect is basically the mathematical concepts where we can compare data between the two. And how can we compare data? Statistics. That is the best way to compare. So we can have bar graphs, we can have histograms, we can have pie chart, we can have line graphs, so frequency polygons. So I'll be showing you some examples of how we can do that. So we will compare the two regions and how to integrate art. That's also. So one thing is the plotting of all this data that we collect, and then how to integrate it through art forms. For that, we need to understand the art of the place where we are doing. So for example, if I'm doing for Andamans, I need to know their speciality. For example, earlier, the Delhi students were doing on Sikkim. So we were doing a lot of Sikkim handicrafts, Sikkim patterns, Sikkim bamboo art. Same way, there is Nicobari art. So whichever place you have, I'm sure every place, India is such a rich, it has such a rich cultural heritage that every particular place has got something to offer. And it's very different. It's like a different country altogether. So there is decorative items. So how are we going to use this? We are going to use these decorations, these patterns in our projects. It's not that we are writing about that this is happening, this is happening. So this is just, I'm going to show you some examples of, this is the art form that is there in Nicobar. And then if you see further, this is the shell craft. So there is a lot of shells. So a lot of the project work can be decorated with the help of shells, if it is available, because in a place like Delhi, that may be difficult. We will not spend money and buy shells and all if it is available. Otherwise, there is a lot of other things like cane and bamboo craft. So cane and bamboo craft can be used. It is very, it's a very famous in Andamans. So cane and bamboo craft is there. And then further we'll see that palm leaf craft. So there is coconut trees, palm leaves, all this can also be used. Intricate weaving is not possible, but this can be used in the decoration of the bar graph or the pie chart that we are going to do. So this is again Andamanese pottery. So these are all different things that can be incorporated in the project depending on the place. So project components. So that was the introduction about the place. So they have understood about all this, that these are the patterns that can be used. So first of all, what are we going to do? We are going to introduce the whole thing, the cultural part, the geographical part, and the economic difference. Because the economic difference may be vastly different from each other, especially when we are comparing a place like Delhi and Andamans, the cost of living, the economic activities in which the people are involved are totally different. So because one is urban setting, the other is island setting. So we need to do a comparison between the two places. So how do we collect data? Now, collection of data also, sometimes the student expects the teacher to give the data. So don't do that, because then the research work is zero. Now with the evolution of ChatGPT and Google Bard and all that, I think it's very easy to collect information. Of course, ChatGPT doesn't give you the latest information, but you can use Wikipedia, they can use a Google search. Let them collect data on what? On anything which can be compared in terms of numbers. So it can be a comparison of population of different years. It can be the animals that are found in the two places. It can be the trees and flowers that are found there. It could be temperature, rainfall, humidity. It could be based on transportation, the pollution levels. It's going to be amazingly different. The tourism statistics, that on which, in which month what is happening, and so on. So all this can be collected for whichever place you are doing. All the statistical data we require, because that's what we are going to do the comparison on. So let the students compare data. Now this, ideally it should be a group project. So, but if you think that the student is able to do independently, I think they can be given the freedom, although the CBSE says give this as a group project. So I came to know that many schools are also giving it as individual projects. And now individual projects, the problem is that many students may not be able to do the full project, and it takes time. So depending on the school. And in group project, what happens, they divide. Okay, you collect the data, I will do this, I will collate the data, I will make the graph and so on. So everybody is doing some part. So that is left to you. But ultimately, this has to be done. Also, another problem which is coming, and many teachers are asking, is that some students are saying, can we submit an online project? Can we submit an online project? Because during the COVID times, they did everything online. They are finding it, making PowerPoints, collecting data, doing all this. So if you ask me personally, I have said, don't give it online. But I think if your students are, because some are giving physical, some are doing online, I really don't know how to collate that whole thing and how to get that, because the marking will be different. We cannot compare a physical project with the online project. But if you can do it, I don't think there is any harm, because there is no, we don't have to submit these projects anywhere. We have to just show that the student has done the project, right? So if you are doing it online or offline, that I think the teacher has to decide. Your school has to decide, basically. In our school, they said that don't take online, because we need to keep the evidence, the physical. That's also a problem. And when you're taking it online, again, you have to make a folder in which you should know that these are the students who have submitted online and so on. So evidence purpose is a little issue. Otherwise, I don't think there will be any problems as far as CBSE protocols are concerned, because ultimately they are doing it. So now, once we collect the data can be collected very easily. It will take a few hours to get all the data on different aspects. Now, once they start collecting this data, they will use this data that is collected to compare the data by using whatever they have studied till class 10, whichever class. So you are giving this project in 8th. So they already know about line graphs. They know about pie chart. In fact, 8th students, I think they know about all this, except for probably frequency polygon, which they do later in 9th and 10th. So it can be done up to 6 to 10. The same project can be given in 6 to 10. There is no problem at all, right? We can, because in multidisciplinary approach also, it can be based on statistics. In 9th and 10th, of course, it has to be done separately. But in 6 to 8 also, this same project can be given with minor changes depending on what the other teachers are giving in their subjects. Now, when we talk about geometry, the monuments in the two places are totally different. So, there will be architecture is totally different. The Mughal architecture, European, Gothic, you have different styles of architecture. So, depending on the temperature and rainfall conditions, the roof of buildings are different. So geometrically, how is the building, the infrastructure development different? That can be used as a comparison, because many geometry chapters are there, like congruency, triangles and all that. And they can bring in that aspect as well when you compare the monuments and landmarks present in the two states. Measurement and calculation. Now, this is also very important, because if you calculate the area, compare the area of the two places, how much of water is present in both the places, their distances from from nearest airport, nearest railway station, what is the mode of communication, all that can be used to calculate and compare. Besides the geographical features like climate, temperature, rainfall, the other things like area, distance, volumes are relevant to both the regions. We can give a list. Now, this data also we are not giving, but we are saying that this is what can be done. This is what can be done. So at the end of this webinar, I will be giving you the recording of this video. Also, I will be giving you a shorter version of this video, which you can send to students if they are not able to understand. Because what normally when we make them do in the class is that half the students don't understand what has to be done, and that is why there is a delay in the submissions. So what happens is that, you know, when we take a session like this, you know, 1 hour students are not going to listen. And so what I have done is I have made a shorter version so that I can share it with the students. So this whole thing is explained in about 15 minutes there. So I will be sharing that video also with you, so that in case you are, and you know, you have made everything clear in the class, but still there will be students who come up how to do it, where to get the information, how. So what can be done? You can give the link of that particular thing. So this is how it has to be done. So this is how the, you know, the data has to be collected. This is how the graphs have to be drawn. So you don't have to go on repeating the same thing again and again. So that is why I prepared that. So basically I prepared that for my students. So I will be sharing you that video also, the whole concise thing, so that anybody, any student who is not understanding the instructions can always refer to the video and do that. Okay. So when now we go to the next part, the finance. Now again, cost of living. Cost of living in different places is different. You go to Delhi, Mumbai, you know, Calcutta, or a rural place like, you know, go to the interiors of Madhya Pradesh or Bihar or Kerala or Tamil Nadu, you will find that the cost of living is totally different. In 100 rupees may be more than enough in a rural setting, but 100 rupees you don't get anything in urban setting. So cost of living is very, very different. So budgeting, expenses. So compare the prices of different products. What is available here? What is available there? So something which is, you know, recently I was buying a coconut online, and you won't believe it. The cost of one coconut that, you know, was about 90 rupees online in Delhi. So what is happening is 85, 90. And when you go to Kerala, you will get in 30, 35 rupees. Because, you know, there is abundance of coconuts there. So that's what I'm saying. The pricing of stuff gets very different in different places. Same with spices. You see cashew nut spices, all this, you know, cardamom and all that. All these spices are very cheap when you go to Kerala and South, because, you know, or you go to tea gardens in Assam and all that, because that's the place where they grow all this. And when you go to the other places, it will be expensive. So obviously, the economics can be compared. So what, this is the pricing of stuff there, this is the pricing of that. So this is going to be a learning experience for them, because they shouldn't feel that, you know, the price is uniform where in India. Of course, they know that when you go abroad, you go to Europe and all that, you find that, you know, even for water, you have to pay in dollars. So, you know, people who travel abroad, and when they come back to India, we realize how precious India is, because we are getting practically water free, isn't it? So water is such a precious commodity, and we are getting practically free. Even if we buy, we will get that 20 rupees 1 liter. You won't believe it. You know, 2 years back, I had gone to Hong Kong, and they were charging for a very small bottle. You know, there is no complimentary bottles like you go to check into a hotel. You don't get complimentary water bottle. You have to buy it, and it was so expensive. It's about $5, one small bottle, not even 1 liter. That was about 400 ml, and you felt as if you are in a desert. And then water is less, you feel more thirsty. And $5, you know, that's quite expensive for a small bottle of water. And then we were, you know, sipping that. So most of these people who travel, you know, or Singapore and all these abroad, they find that water is very expensive. So you see the place, when the place is different, the value of that commodity becomes much more. So, you know, people who are living in Dubai and Saudi and all that, Prachi Verma ma'am will be able to tell me better. You know, I've heard that even my sister-in-law who's there tells that, you know, this cold drinks, Coke and all that are cheaper than water. Water is more expensive. So, you know, so this is what happens. In many of the restaurants, they give Coke free, but not water. Water we have to buy. So this is what the, this is. Am I right, Prachima? Is it true or
Yes,
not?
yes, sir. Very true. Very true, sir. Here, water is more expensive than all the things, not
Yeah.
only coke and petrol also.
Yes,
Water
yes.
is more expensive than the other things. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is what, no, so when we are in our country, we don't realize that. But when we go abroad, when we share, when we come back, we realize how precious the water is. And they give small, small bottles. And then, and imagine when I had taken my daughter to Disneyland there. And yeah, after coming back, we had kept a bag outside and there was one bottle of water. And that somebody took that water bottle, so the thief is also, taking away the water from us. That is very expensive. So, and we were very sad because here in India, if one bottle of water was no problem, but there paying $5 and buying that one bottle of water, and then that bottle went away. So that we were very sad about it. So this is what I said. The place is so, the place value. So cost of living in different places is so high, and the students should be made aware of this, that that it's not uniform, and this is the cost of, for example, I told you about coconuts, 80 to 90 rupees one coconut here online. When I was buying, and I found that, and in Kerala we used to get 30-35 rupees, and still we get it 40 rupees, like that. So the costing is double. So living expenses on different commodities we can compare, so that can be done in the form of pie chart and histograms and so on. So this is some graphics which are there, which you are already aware that you can draw the pie chart. So pie chart can be like two pie charts can be drawn, no? Like, for example, the language that is spoken. So which language people, like if you talk about Andamans, what is the language spoken? What is the religion? Okay. Or so different things can be compared. So two pie charts, one for Delhi, one for the other place, Andamans in this case. So you can, or cost of different products, you can do compare with a double bar graph. Then you can have a line graph, okay, temperature. Okay, this is what happened in January, this is February, March, April, like that. So all this can be done. So line graph, histogram, bar graph, all that can be used for comparison of the collected data. After collecting this data and representing it, then what happens? So see here. So one example I have given here. So if you compare Delhi with Andamans, the temperature, in Delhi, it's very hot during summers. And now it's quite pleasant. It will get pleasant November, December and all that. So this is like the summer months, the comparison of the temperature of Andamans and Delhi, I have compared. And what has happened in this is that I have made a double bar graph. So the students can do, okay, this is what happened in March. The temperatures were about 25 degrees in Andamans, and it was about 30. So you find that the Delhi temperature is coming much higher. So this is a double bar graph. So this is just an example, I said. So by this it is, and then they can write a few points also explaining this whole thing, that about the seasons and all that. They can compare any months. So this is just a suggestive example of the temperature of the summer months. Same way, another example I have given here. Okay, this is the tribal pink. Now, okay, so this histogram, if you just draw a double graph, if you just shade it like that, it makes no sense. No, the art integration is not there. So there comes the art integration. Now the art integration comes in decorating all this with the help of the shell which was shown, or the tribal handicrafts, or the painting, or the bamboo work. All this can be used just like you did in earlier also, no, the traditional art form that was prevalent in that state, that can be used to decorate this. So same way, now this is a tribal painting. There is a tribe in Andamans, the Jarawa tribe. They don't talk to anybody, and they are actually protected people. Very less people are there, because earlier I think some people tried to go there and they kill the people and all. You must have heard about the stories. So it's a protected tribe. So they have a lot of these Jarawa tribe. They are protected people, and they have unique painting. The traditions is there. So if you look at this, it's very symmetrical. It is very symbolic in terms of geometry, because there is a pattern. All these are patterns. Many patterns involved, the tessellations and all, which are very relevant to maths. And they use mostly natural pigments, not the watercolors and paints. Natural pigments means from trees. So most of these are very natural. They make it from plants, the berries and organic material, only fruits from grass and all that. So they are not using any synthetic color. That's the beauty of these paintings. Because the tribals are not manufacturing any colors, they are using only natural colors, which are found organically from trees, from fruits, from grass and all that. So that's the beauty of these paintings. And so this can be used to decorate this. Now, if you have good artists in your class, they can make it. But so everyone is not a good artist. So what they can do is they can take a print of this and paste it on our histogram or bar graph. So they can take cutout strips and paste it. So that the art form is, so they can say, okay, this is a double bar graph showing the comparison of temperature between this place and this place. And the art form that is used to decorate this is this. So it becomes meaningful. There is a mathematical aspect as well as the art integration comes in. Now, this is again shell jewelry. All this can be used for decoration. We don't have to write big descriptions, but we are going to use for decoration. This is another example that I have given. This is a line graph, comparison of rainfall between Andamans and Delhi. So whichever state you are having, you can compare the rainfall. So if you see January to December, I have taken, and you see that Andamans is having more rain. Obviously, it's towards the sea. It's a coastal regions will have more. So, and both are represented by different lines. So the color can be different and so on, and a comparison can be done. So here in this, I have shown a line graphs. So there can be various methods by which we can compare any statistical data like tourism, cost of living index, humidity, temperature, rainfall, population, area, volume, all this. And what are the people, the primary occupation of the people. So if you look at island nations, it will be more of fishing, agriculture, whereas in metropolitan cities like Delhi, it will be more of manufacturing and regular office work. So it less of agricultural, fishing and so on. So the primary and tertiary occupations can be given in the form of a pie chart, which becomes more meaningful for the students. So this is there. Then we go further, and so this is geometric art. So I remember when Seema ma'am was conducting a session, she had given many examples of people. If I'm not mistaken, some projects done by IIT, isn't it, Seema ma'am? Some I don't remember exactly who were the students, but
Yes.
she had shared. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, it was pie chart that the students had conducted with the geometrical patterns.
Geometrical pattern. So that was, I think, very, very beautiful. And if you have access to that, you could share it in that group so that, the other people can see it once more. And yeah, so that they were very beautiful designs. So geometric art, geometric shapes can be created. I think you had shown some lanterns and all, isn't it? Lanterns made out of paper and all that. So different shapes and patterns inspired by
Lamps they have made. Once again, I have given in this school also.
yes, ma'am. I remember that because that was a very impressive project that you had given. And I had in fact also tried with my students and it came out really well. So yes. And so therefore we can bring about all these geometric shapes and patterns, especially keeping in view the architecture of the two places. Because see, everything will not match according, it will match only according to the place. So when you go to, let's say, a place like Jaipur, okay, so when I visit Jaipur as a tourist, what happens in all the hotels, they will give you the traditional look. They will make you feel that royalty comes in, isn't it? Wherever you go, there will be someone dressed like the Maharaja. There will be a lot of puppets. There will be that Rajasthani folk music. Those Haveli type hotels are, that sort of thing. Because unless you do that, that feel doesn't come. So architecture is totally different. And when you come to, you go to Mumbai or Delhi or this thing, that will be totally different. So every place has got an essence, and this project has to bring out that essence very, very clearly. So when we talk about Andamans, that essence has to come out, that once the A to Z of the project gets over, the person who is reading that should understand beautifully about what the people do, of all the statistics about that place when you compare it to the place that you belong to. So that's very important. So like I was telling the Seema ma'am, she had shared some projects about these lanterns and all. Now lanterns also will be different from in different places, depending on the place that because architecture is different. So you will make it in a different way in a particular place. In another place, it will be totally different, isn't it? So that all can be beautifully brought out. So for example, when I go to Kerala, I will in fact, this Andamans and Lakshadweep, they're more in the south. So you will find a lot of palm products. So the lantern may not be made of paper. It will be made up of palm leaves. If the coconut shell, coir products, they will start using all those. So, these lampshades, the lampshade that we use normally in the cloth. In Delhi, when I buy a lampshade, it is made up of cloth or some other material like that. When you go to south, you will find a lot of things made with this cane and bamboo and all that. So that's what I said. Depending on the place, the whole thing gets different. So those patterns can be created depending on the place of which the project you are doing. And then once we have collected the data, we have made the statistics, we have decorated with all this. Now comes the presentation part. Now the presentation means like there has to be a conclusion. Why did the students do it? So there has to be a summary, summarize the whole thing. What is the analysis? There has to be a conclusion. Okay, we did a project on this, so but what do we conclude? Okay, the main occupation was this, the language that they speak is this, the population is this, what the population growth is this, the infant mortality rate is this. So, the growth of population is this, all this, a summary has to be given in the form of a table or separately. And obviously some artistic creations can also be involved there. So as I said, there are many artists in our classes. So they can use this artistic imagination to do that. Otherwise, they can always take print and stick it, but that is not advisable. But if suppose, because the project has to be of a certain quality, and that when we, as I said, when we are doing a comparison, that subject enrichment, they should do full justice to that. And we are doing only one project in the year. I think we are not giving multiple projects. So I think that much effort the student has to do. And we are not telling them to do 50 pages or 100, just 8 to 10 pages, but it should be presented beautifully, right? Every student should make that effort. So that conclusion is important. We have to tell them to discuss the significance of integrating math and art. So, the real world, the most common question that as maths teachers we face is that, sir, where do we use this? Or ma'am, where do we use this? So they have to understand that maths is everywhere. Even in architecture, if you look at, so everything that was compared, we used statistics. Whether we are making a design or we are making some painting, there is mathematics involved. We saw that painting, Jarava paintings, where they use natural products, there are some patterns there. So it's not that, they make 1% small and 1% big, and the circles are concentric and they are increasing with a particular pattern. So all these are mathematical. So it's very important that the student understand that why we are doing this project. It's not for the sake of doing, but it is that they need to understand that we are integrating maths and understand to in the real world this exists. So when we are doing that, then they will do justice. Otherwise, for the sake of submitting, they will not be able to do the justice. So the proper conclusion has to be there in 1 or 2 pages, not much. So introduction 1 or 2 pages, conclusion 1 or 2 pages, and in between they are doing all this statistical part. So then after the conclusion, what is important is we have to tell them to present this. Now, as I said, we have to, so as I said, in this whole scenario, what we need to understand is that the student has to be given freedom, because in many schools, what they told me is that the data is being given to them. So this is the rainfall, this is the temperature. The teacher is, before the session, before the formal start of the session, I was discussing with the teachers who had joined at that point of time, that in your school, are the students doing all these projects? So the general thing that was there was that they don't do. Or maybe 20% or 25% of the students do. The rest have to be coaxed and reminded. And the teacher, the onus actually is coming on the teacher to get the project done. So that becomes a little problematic. So this should actually, all the artists of the class and those students who are not, there are some restless kind of student, but you give them some activity, they are very interested. On the other hand, some get bored with the activity also. Somebody was sharing, activities they don't do, they don't want, because the mindset of the teachers is that you do only studies. These activities are all time wasting, isn't it? I think somebody was sharing that. So this is a general thing, and with the NEP coming, I think the activity part will only increase, and we need to change our mindsets as educators, because unless we change our mindset, then what is going to happen is the same type of projects will be submitted without any meaning, isn't it? So if there are any questions or any clarification we can discuss, or you want to share something which you are doing in the school, I will be happy so that other people who have joined in, they can also understand. So especially there are participants who are here who have already conducted sessions on this aspect. So if they want to share something, they are most welcome to share. Seema ma'am, would you like to add on something to what was discussed?
Sir, actually, I think you have covered all the points, whatever we need in this art integration and mathematics. It covers all the points, and I also conducting the same way. Except one point which I hear is finance. I never included this point. And even it doesn't come in my mind also that we can include this one. Finance, this is the first time. Even it didn't click in my mind.
Yes, and because and the finance education is also not taught in our schools. So, for
Yes.
example, many of the students, they will not be able to estimate the amount of certain things, because their parents have never sent them to the market, or they have no idea. So, for example, if I ask a student what is the cost of this, they may give you vague answers. Some of them are street smart because they are involved in this. So it's important that we know the costing part also. Otherwise, they will think that the parents will always provide for them, and like that. So that is there. Prachi ma'am, you want to add on something?
Sir, we have planned in the starting of the session different art integrated activities. Every term we have 2 art integrated, every grade.
Every year 2 you are having?
No, every term.
Every term 2, my God, acha. So you have
Every
total
term
4
art
activities.
integrated is, yeah. No, so like in primary we have 6, and in middle school we have 4. So we have integrated, but our states are not paired. But yes, today I got many good ideas, sir. Thank you so much that we can include this. No, finance is really which we are not using at all. So we can include that. And we are doing related to fraction, decimals, and this data handling. Yes, we are doing it, data handling. But this with pairing of states, there are so many things which you have included.
So you
thank you
are
so
not
much.
doing pairing.
No, not pairing. We are not doing, sir. Pairing we are not doing, but we are doing.
I thought the people who are out of India, they are free to pair with any state. So that's not the case?
No, sir.
Okay.
Pairing we are not doing. Pairing we are not doing. But yes, art integration is done. Art
Okay.
integration is done. Thank you, sir.
Namaste, sir.
Yeah, namaste.
Can I ask a question?
Sure, ma'am, please.
Yes, sir. The project what you gave us ideas was only for statistics, like drawing bar graph and doing all that.
Yes.
But what happens in our school is the social and the science teachers departments, based on their program of work, they choose a topic.
Okay.
And based on that topic, we have to prepare a mathematical
yes, ma'am.
project.
So that happens in the middle school, no? 6, 7, 8, multidisciplinary.
Yes, sir. 6, 7, 8.
Yeah. So that also I will tell you. For example, ma'am, can you give an idea of the topic that you have taken for this year or last year?
The term 1 we did heat. They had chosen the topic heat. In science they had heat, and in social
heat.
heat. And in social they had temperature, like the temperature in difference. So we did the same line graph where no, they check the temperature for the 6 months or so, and then plot, and that's all.
Yes.
Now, anything else apart from the statistics that we can do, sir, in mathematics?
See, statistics has got the advantage that it can be represented graphically.
Ah.
Otherwise, the calculation parts, like for example, that if you're talking about heat, then obviously there is temperature. Now, temperature has got different scales,
Yes.
degree centigrade, Fahrenheit, Kelvin, and all.
Kelvin and all, yeah.
So then what happens is that it becomes only calculation part.
Hmm.
The calculations will not be actually a project. So why we choose statistics is so that some beautiful thing come out. The only thing is that now either we can do something in geometry, because geometry involves again shapes. We
Yes.
can do something on mensuration. Yeah, or we can do something on progressions. And 6, 7, 8 actually they don't do this APs and all that. So
No.
basically it is mainly statistics, unless Seema ma'am, Prachi ma'am, Prachi ma'am, would you like to suggest something, because you are teaching at the anything that besides statistics and
As they have taken as the heat concept, it
Hmm.
affect our plants also, animals also. So what is the effect in that environment, that also they can include?
Yeah, they can include, but she is saying that for as maths, what is the mathematical aspect of that? So that becomes a little difficult because when we are talking about a subject, the maths part will either involve geometry or statistics. I am not able to think at the moment anything else.
Ratio and proportion we can use.
Ratio and proportion, yeah.
Percentage we can use.
Percentage
And
you can use, very
percentage we
good.
can show in the different graphs only, percentage, but we are using the concept of percentage and the ratio and proportion also.
Yeah, ratio, ma'am, ratio is a good thing. Ratio and proportion they can use. For example, if you're like you showed instead of showing on a graph, the different temperatures ratio can be done. So in different months, what is the ratio to January to February, February to March, or summer to winter? All those ratios can be done. And also, if you are making something like a frequency distribution table, how many months are having a temperature of between 30 to 35, 35 to 40, and then on the basis of that you can calculate percentage. So in what is the percentage of months that has got, say, this temperature to this temperature? So ratio, proportion, percentage, there are some scope in that.
Okay. This time for term 2, we have for 8th standard, we have decided first quadrant plotting points, and then it comes out as a beautiful, if they join all the points alphabetically, it becomes a beautiful dove.
Dove.
A bird.
Okay.
So that is what we have planned for second term for 8th standard. But 6th and 7th, we still are searching. We're not getting good projects, art integrated.
Okay, so only, but what is the topic that your colleagues have chosen this time?
That is again dependent on the social and the science department. They decide the topic.
Okay, how come they are already deciding, ma'am? Why the maths people are not?
They should have a common topic so that in our school the whole project is done together.
Yeah.
All the departments join together and we get a report, and then we math teachers correct only the math part of it, and the social teachers correct the social part of it. So the student or the group doesn't waste much time doing different.
Yeah, that's so in middle school they are doing multidisciplinary, but
Yes,
I would suggest
integrated.
take up topics where all, like for example, you can do on water bodies,
Okay.
on flora fauna, where maths can you tell me what is the topic? Like you said heat for the previous term. This term, what is it?
This time they haven't told us yet. We are still waiting.
Still waiting. Okay. So
We
maybe
have
you
holidays in
can.
Bangalore.
Yeah. Okay, fine. And now with AI coming in, with ChatGPT, Google Bard, they are also giving us a lot of ideas. I think make use of AI, because what we cannot think, they are able to think sometimes.
That's true.
So, when we are getting the topic, just give a prompt that how will we make a project in maths based on this topic.
Okay.
Even we can use the congruency and similarities of triangles, similarities and congruency of triangles. We can use that concept. also.
Yes, yes. The geometry aspect obviously can be used in geometry, and stats are the best ways to do it. Progressions are very good in 9th, 10th level. But for 6, 7, 8, since they don't do progressions, but yeah, patterns they do, right? Symmetry they do.
6th standard we have tessellation and everything.
Yeah,
That
you
we
can-
do.
something on
And
patterns.
fractions
Uh,
also, fractions also is there, fractions also there in middle school.
Surface area, I think they can do for 6, 7 surface area a little bit they have.
Okay, yeah. Jayati ma'am and ma'am, you would like to share, and Gayatri ma'am, would you like to share something or ask something?
Good evening, sir, but I was a little late as I had a
Okay.
class. It was very nice that I was able to see at least your last part and the discussion which is happening. I'm sure I'm going to learn a lot. And there are many ways. So in our school, we used to do a lot of things like any topic, like just now, Pooja ma'am said na, that other teachers take
Hmm.
the call on the subject, on the topic.
Yes, yes.
So we also used to allow the science and social science too, because they used to always say we can't do this, we can't do that. I said maths would integrate anywhere.
Yeah.
So
correct.
whatever, like for example, once the topic was Indian Railways.
Hmm.
So we actually made the children, find out how the construction of the rail lines are done.
Hmm.
And there's so much of geometry in it, so much of parallel lines and such. So it was real fun.
Yeah.
And then once I remember we had done making a curve using lines,
Hmm.
a quadratic. You just take a Cartesian plane and you are actually making lines, which turns out to be a curve. And these
Hmm.
are called as Bezier curves. So
Okay.
the topic was something on, I think during this time only railway lines and things happened like that. So lines could be used. So a lot of other options I have. We don't have time
Yeah.
right now, but we will
So you
definitely
are from which
discuss.
school? Which place are you from?
Sir, I am from Kolkata, and I
Okay.
was working with Lakshmipat Singhani Academy,
Okay.
and just recently I've taken premature retirement. I was a headmistress of that school.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, just because of health issues, I had to leave. So right
Mhm.
now I'm a freelancer.
Okay. 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 Fine.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing, ma'am.
Yes, thank you so much, sir. I'm really thankful to you for have given me a chance to be in this forum. That's most important. Thank you, all the teachers.
Yeah, welcome.
And
So
such
that's
senior be with such senior people. It's real fortune for me. Thank you.
thank you, ma'am.
And we can use the linear equations also, no? The
Hmm.
linear equations.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, ma'am. Linear equations is real fun because it will give you a lot of color. You can use different colors to plot the graphs, and that will turn out to be a pattern.
Hmm.
So we can do that.
Thank you, ma'am.
On the graph itself, we can make various designs using lines of symmetry.
Yes, yes.
Also that
Yes.
I have not done, and I have made a uploaded video also that is done by the students. So they have done beautifully.
Yeah. In fact, I think, I had seen a graph which was made, and it was a triangle was there in between, and that the artistically that triangle was converted into a painting of a student wearing traditional clothes of a particular person belonging to that state.
Wonderful.
So, yeah.
Something like worldly art also can be used.
Yes, yes.
Worldly art, worldly painting. So
Yes,
all
yes.
triangles and circles and
Yeah,
semicircles are
yes,
used there.
yes.
Yeah, these are good ideas, really good ideas.
Students have, once they have used this for using the parabolas also from from different situations with the different coordinates, and they are used with the different colors. So that also turned into a very beautiful design.
Correct. That will be done, I think, by the class 11s, I guess. 9, 10 also, do they do? I mean, parabola, I'm not very sure.
Few students have done in 10th standard.
Yeah. And anyways, in projects, we can always introduce something new. There's no problem in
Definitely.
that. Yeah.
Once we explain little bit, I think they do it That the only
Because
problem
in,
is,
in 10th, at least they know the word parabola.
yes,
Using
yes.
that,
we do quadratic equations.
quadratic
One more
equations.
thing, I just remember one thing, that once we had taken them to the just any botanical garden. The theme was science oriented. That was plant kingdom or something like that. So what maths department decided was that we will use the concept of similar triangles to find the height of a tree there. So this concept is, normally used by the scouts, the
Yeah.
guides, the cubs. So from a distance, there's a method. It's a method of similar triangles. So
Yes, yes.
beautifully children could do it, and it's a practical thing to do. So it's a beautiful thing to do. Once I'm thinking of having a session on that, I'll show that, because these are few very easy ideas, which even little ones like class 6 can also do, 5 can also do.
So they measured the length of the shadow and did it?
Correct, sir. Not the
Mm.
shadow. They have to put a staff at the end. It's like 11 slots, and the triangle, the tree actually is the base of the triangle.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
we
yeah,
put
yes.
another staff in the middle somewhere,
Mm.
where they lie down and watch the tip of the
Okay,
tree.
okay. They will lie down and see the top
Yes.
of the stick and the top of the tree has to be the
Absolutely.
same.
And then they will
Mm.
multiply it by 11. I mean, whatever distance we have covered.
Okay, okay.
So very excellent, and it's a teamwork. It's a teamwork, so group happens very well here.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing, ma'am. Thank you, everybody, too, for sharing. Is there anyone else who want to share something? Otherwise, we'll close the meeting.
Similar with the Pythagoras also, it turns out many good projects with Pythagoras.
yes.
Yeah.
And I saw one Pythagoras tree, that the tree gets, that triangle keeps on increasing, and it becomes a tree. That's also very beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah. So
That's wonderful. Would like
yeah.
to hear more about this.
Yeah, you can just do a Google search, Pythagoras tree. There's a video. So it starts with 3 triangles and the triangles keep on increasing and then what happens? It becomes a beautiful tree. So I'll
That's
share
wonderful.
that. I'll share that in the.
Sure, sir. I will be delighted to hear this. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm such a fan of Pythagoras. Everything I think about only Pythagoras. So now I'm trying to think, direct myself towards other concepts.
And
I
actually,
think Pythagoras
it's so
is one of our
amazing, the
favorites.
Pythagoras, Euclid, all these Greek
Yeah.
mathematicians, they did all this thousands of years back.
Years back.
It's amazing. I mean, it's
Amazing, absolutely.
and still
And
that all the concepts that they have done in geometry is still valid. That's the
Yes.
beauty of this.
And being a mathematician, I think we all tend to, go towards Pythagoras every time, because it's so much of fun, so much is there in it. So
Yes.
Likewise, we have the Sierpinski triangles also.
Yes.
That also gives a beautiful designs.
Yes,
which one,
yes.
ma'am? Which one? Could you just repeat?
Sierpinski.
Okay. Yes. Absolutely.
Sierpinski triangles.
Yes.
That also gives the
We
beautiful
can use these as projects, and it's
Yes.
real fun because children get to know something new, completely new. So it's nice.
Thank you so much. And we only one person hasn't spoken, so I'll ask the Gayatri, ma'am. Is it Gayatri? I can see. Would you like to share something? Okay, I think it's okay. It's fine. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Prachi ma'am. Thank you, Seema ma'am, Pooja ma'am, Jayati ma'am, for sharing your valuable insights. Because this is also a learning experience when we share what is happening in other schools. So I think we carry back and then we try to do it and then we share it further. So thank you, everyone, for joining in. So I'll be sharing the certificate link in the group.
Thank you,
And
sir.
in the meantime, if you are able to share some video links which you have done, and you are most welcome to share in the group so that it becomes a learning experience for all of us. Okay.
Sure, sir. Thank you.
Thank you and good night.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Good night.